Welcome to My Life, My Songs. I'm your host, Jimmy Fortune, and today I have a fantastic show for you. We're sitting down with Miss Country Soul herself, the iconic Jeannie Seely, whose career spanned over 6 decades, and you've been around a long time, and I tell you what, you are one of the best and most professional people I've ever seen on stage.
Oh my goodness.
And I want you to know that, and I'm not the only one that says that, but you know, this is about your story, and I want to let's go back to when you started out, in your childhood. What got you into the music business? Oh my
goodness, my childhood. I grew up out in the country, on a little farm in rural Pennsylvania. A lot of people said, you're from Pennsylvania and you're in country music. Well, I don't see much difference in the lifestyle from the country in the north as in the south. You know, I'm witnessed both, but anyway, I was about 4 years old when we discovered the Grand Ole Opry. And the family joke used to be that once I found the Grand Ole Opry on that radio dial, I got upset because I thought every time I turned that button and put it at that place, I should hear the Grand Ole Opry. And I still think that, you know?
Well.
And in today's world, we can hear whatever we want anywhere. But I had developed an early love for music, and of course, I was born in 1940, so my early childhood was all through World War II. Ernest Tubb, of course, was a hero.
Oh, I imagine.
And so anyway, in school, I got to be in every program, and actually, I was 8 years old in 3rd grade when I sang on a little show at school. And when I saw the kids smiling and laughing and heard them applaud, I thought, this is the best feeling I've ever known, and this is what I want to do. And I immediately tied that to what I heard on the Grand Ole Opry. So I actually knew at 8 years old what I wanted to do and where I wanted to do it. So I've been very, very blessed.
You were a secretary at Imperial Records?
Well, when I left Pennsylvania, because after I got out of school, I went into banking because I couldn't afford to go to college. We didn't have any community colleges back then. So I found out if I went to work in the bank, I could go to night school to American Institute of Banking. So that's what I did, and took it's either 7 or 9 college accredited courses in that, which now I'm an honorary member of the American Institute of Banking, which I'm very proud of that.
Wow.
So when I went to California, I had a great letter of recommendation, and I went to work at Union Bank on the corner of Beverly Drive and Wilshire Boulevard.
Oh, man.
I couldn't even afford to look in the windows of Beverly Drive, but I was up there. But I had a wonderful job. But I wanted to make a record, and I didn't have any idea, how do you make a record? How do you do this? Right. So I thought, well, the best way to figure that out is go to work on a record company. So I quit the bank and went to work at Liberty Imperial Records, and that's where I started meeting people who were writing songs and singing, and actually professionally got started as a songwriter first.
Now, when did songwriting actually, you figured the day that I said, I want to write a song? I mean, when did that happen?
I toyed with it, of course, as a kid, and I used to write little limericks. I love limerick rhymes, and have written several songs in that pattern. But always I would write a little poem for my mother on her birthday and for Mother's Day. So it was always coming around, and wrote some little funny things. But yeah, when I got to Southern California and started meeting a lot of the songwriters, it really brought it to what I could do with these crazy thoughts I had. And One of the songs I wrote when I was 24, and during that time, was a song called Anyone Who Knows What Love Is Will Understand.
Oh, yeah.
And that song has just taken on a whole second life that I never dreamed of. I was going to record an album called Written in Song. It's 14 songs that I had written that were recorded by other people.
Mm-hmm.
And so since Anyone was the first one I ever had recorded, well, we're going to go back, start there. I couldn't remember it. I had to Google my own song to remember it. And I found out all these wonderful things were happening. It's been in 5 episodes of Black Mirror, TV series out of London. And there's maybe 5 or 6 artists over there. Seal recently put it in an album.
Wow, holy smoke, man.
And
that's going to be big. You want to go to your mailbox and...
Oh, well, let me tell you about that.
Okay.
Somebody said, you got to be really happy about all that mailbox money now.
Yeah.
And I said, excuse me. I'm a little older, but I'm pretty tech savvy these days. It's DD money.
Oh, okay.
Honey, I ain't walking to that mailbox. We just direct deposit.
Only Jeannie Silly would say that, I'm telling you. We'll be right back with more My Life, My Songs, right here after this. Welcome back to My Life, My Songs. Well, now, you won a Grammy Award in 1966 for one of my favorite songs ever, Don't Touch Me. Oh, man, what a song. Every time you do that, I just sit there in awe of the song and the way you perform it. It's so good.
Well, I thank you for that. Coming from you, that's an incredible compliment on the performance. Hank Cochran wrote the song, and as time goes by, I realize more all the time how fortunate I was to get that type of material, because the song never ages. At the time we were looking, Fred Foster had told Hank, said, we'll go in the studio as soon as you find the right song. And so Hank had asked me, he said, what do you want to sing? And I said, well, I'd like to have a ballad that gives me room to sing the way I want to sing. But I want it to be a song that you don't have to be male or female, married, single, young, old, wouldn't matter. That song would appeal. You could identify with it. Hank said, you don't want much, do you? And I said, that's a pretty tall order. But you think about it, that's what he wrote. And a lot of male artists, and it can be done. I haven't heard it done bluegrass yet, but Rhonda Vincent might figure out a way to do that, if anybody can.
But now, you've been a member of the Grand Ole Opry for 54 years, and I think that translates into something like 2,266 performances. Is there anybody that's done any more than you have at the Grand Ole Opry?
Probably not. And after this past year, I might go down in history as doing more performances than anybody.
And the first woman to host it.
Yeah, well, on the number of performances, what is so funny is that sounds like a lot, but that's just since computers. I was a member of the Opry for 30 years before they had computers.
My gosh.
So we have no idea how many times I've performed. But this past year with the pandemic shut down, and I've been there more than anybody else for several reasons. One, I'm probably a little bit dumb to take chances, but also I live close. I was fortunate enough to get an early vaccine and have stayed very, very vigilant on being careful. So on the hosting, that was a door that I kicked on incessantly because it just seemed wrong to me. And everywhere else, people were realizing that women were capable of doing jobs. I've always thought it amusing that that people didn't realize when you look, you call any guy, and he'll say about going to something. He'll say, "Well, let me check with Nina. You know, she knows our social calendar.
She knows everything,
It's the
banking
woman
and everything."
who
Yeah.
runs the home, makes everything organized there, runs the social things. She's the one. She knows how to deal with who's sick, who's got an emotional problem going through. Where's the problem here? They're problem solvers, usually women are. So it just seemed normal to me that they should have a stronger role in business. Translated into on stage, there's something about that that comes through. You know, I can see the show going on. I can just see what needs to be. And I felt the way I would always do it, I didn't march. I made an appointment with every manager and went in, and I would lay out my perspective on it. Right. Because I said, I feel like you're ignoring half of your talent pool by not letting them have a role here. And you're also kind of slighting half of your audience.
Right.
Because you're telling the women out there you aren't important enough, or we would have a woman talking to you.
We'll be right back with more My Life, My Songs after this.